Good morning, Dan and Amy. So before we get to our friend Steve Moore, yesterday, billionaire investor and big Trump backer Carl Icahn was on CNBC, and he essentially said that Trump kind of gets what's going on, and he's the right guy in the right place for the job at hand, because you can't have government at war with business.
Our country it can exist when the government is at war with business, and that's exactly what we have. Just looking at a simple truth, and this is simple truth. We have a massive problem, and Donald is addressing it. The Democrats are not. Donald gave a speech that was, to my mind, right on about it, and if he sticks with that economic theme, he should definitely win hands down, because I don't know why you wouldn't vote for him.
All right. We're happy to be joined, following up on Carl Icahn, by billionaire chief economist at the Heritage Foundation, Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. By the way, I thought Carl, you don't need to have me on this morning. Carl Icahn said it better than I could. I mean, he was spot on. If Donald Trump will stick to that message that was given in that speech in Detroit, and I was there in the room with them and in that convention center. I mean, there was electricity there. I think he's just got to stick to that. You know, hit her on taxes, hit her on energy policy, hit her on regulation, hit her on Obamacare. If he will do that, he will win the race. I don't know if he will, but if he does, there's no question who's better able to handle jobs in the economy in this race. I mean, just no question about it.
Well, let me ask a follow-up. If I would have been interviewing Carl Icahn, he would have enjoyed it more, and I would have asked him this follow-up question to that statement about government at war with business. Okay, I accept the premise, but I want to make sure that the Trump remedy is not government in bed with business. And I wonder, with Trump's big infrastructure proposal and some of his other offerings, particularly in the area of trade, if we shouldn't be concerned about that.
Well, Dan, let me say what was really good in the speech before I talk about that.
Okay.
I mean, I think that the most important thing for people to understand is that what Donald Trump laid out on Monday was taking America from being the highest tax country in the world on business to one of the lowest. And that's not just going to apply to big companies like Microsoft and Apple and General Electric, but even the small businesses that are the spinal cord of our economy. So that's huge. I mean, that will have an enormous impact on bringing jobs back to the United States. Taxes do matter. That's what I've devoted my whole life to. That's what Arthur Laffer and Larry Kudlow and other great economists taught me, that and Ronald Reagan, for goodness sakes, when you cut tax rates, you cut the tax on something, you get more of it. And we need more business. We need more job creation. And we'll bring those businesses back. And that really is the part of the speech that I worked on with Kudlow and others, and not just the speech, but the program. We think we have the best pro-growth tax program. And by the way, contrast that, Dan, with where Hillary is on taxes. She wants to raise the taxes on businesses. She wants to go nearly 50%. So here it is. I'm going to keep this very simple, Dan. We're at 15% on business. She's at 50%. Now, you don't have to be a PhD economics to understand which is going to create more jobs in businesses, a 50% tax rate or 15. Again, I want to keep it very simple for folks, because I know, some liberals can't connect those dots.
Yes, we know this. But also, so there are 7 tax brackets, and he wants to reduce it down to 3. Can you explain that?
Yep. We simplified the individual code, and the rates are lower. The average middle class family will save about $1,500. So that's something a lot of people told us that. And just one of the really interesting little story that happened is, we're finalizing the tax plan, and who walks into the room and makes a suggestion, but Ivanka, and she says, we need something for working women in this plan, and she said, we've got to put in something on child care. And it was funny because there were 4 or 5 men sitting around the table putting this plan together, and I don't do child care. I don't know a lot about it. So we started asking around to women, and they said, this is something that's really important to us. And they said, look, why shouldn't we be able to deduct these expenses? And so, for working women out there who are driving to work now, you're going to be able, those child care expenses, you're going to be able to deduct those from your tax plan. So there's a lot of attractive features here. The main thing is we're going to cut your taxes. And Hillary admitted last week she's going to raise them. And it doesn't matter whether you're Carl Icahn, for your Dan and Amy. You're going to pay
Yeah.
more tax under Hillary.
I mean, I concede the point and the comparison, but I just want to make sure we're also eyes wide open with some of the component parts. First of all,
Okay.
from
Now,
our
you asked me about infrastructure, right?
well, I mean, just holding there for a second. From our long history, I know that you're not necessarily a fan of a lot of these tax credits and special carve-outs in the tax code, but the child care one is okay?
I think you can make a case that you should be able to deduct if you're going to do what you're doing to prepare yourself to go to your job and to be on the job should be deductible. And so she made a strong case, and I was persuaded.
You don't say
this,
no to
that
Ivanka. I hear you. I know.
Ivanka's very persuasive.
Yes.
I have to say it's hard to say no to her. But then on there's the energy stuff and there's the regulation stuff. I'll tell you one quick story. I'm part of this Trump Leadership Council where we meet, once a month with very prominent business owners, people who run great companies in the energy area and the financial services area, banks, manufacturing companies. And they told us, they said, look, taxes are a big problem, no question about it. But they said the regulations are worse, and we got to do something to roll back the regs. And so, one of the cool things that we got in that speech was Donald Trump, the first day he's elected president, on the first day, within the first hour of getting into the Oval Office, we're going to have a stack of 50 executive orders of Barack Obama, and he's going to just sign each one. Boom, 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 boom. Repealed, 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 repealed. We're going to repeal all of those illegal executive actions that Barack Obama's put in place. Everything from sanctuary cities to the 50 worker rule, for Obamacare. We can, you clear these hurdles to growth, and we can get to 4% growth. We're growing at a pathetic pace right now, and Hillary's running around the country like it's morning in America. It's unbelievable. This economy is sputtering.
Well, before you talk about executive orders, you got to get them in the White House first. And yesterday, I think he stepped in it again, Stephen Moore, saying that the Second Amendment people may be able to stop Clinton over her SCOTUS picks. Was he inciting violence against Hillary Clinton? And what do you do when you can't control the candidate?
No, he wasn't. I mean, I think he could have said that more artfully. He meant, the Second Amendment could create a movement to stop her. There's no group has more political power than the National Rifle Association and Gun Owners of America. So he was inciting. This is where the media just tries to incite. You talk about inciting violence. I mean, everything that he says, they kind of take out of context. He was saying you would get, if she tries to put people who are opposed to our constitutional rights on the court, there will be a movement that will develop that will try to stop her from doing that. No better group to do that than the Gun Owners of America.
Going back to what Trump had to say in his speech in Detroit, what about the construct of Americanism versus globalism? Are those two things really mutually exclusive?
Well, I too obviously believe in global trade, and I believe immigration is good. But I also do believe, Dan, that we've had a president now for 7 years who has not put America first. In fact, he's embarrassed by America. Every time he goes overseas, he apologizes to the United States. I mean, you see the perfect example of this in this crazy climate change deal where we shut down American energy, but they don't shut down their energy. We shut down coal plants and China builds them. How is that good for the environment or for the American economy? And I like this idea of a new. I think the theme of the Trump speech was a new American economic patriotism, where we're going to put the concerns of middle class Americans ahead of these wacko left wing ideas like worrying about the rise of the oceans. Let's put Americans back into jobs first, and the same thing with the trade deals. A lot of times these trade deals have not had American workers' interests at stake, and we're going to start doing that. That's not to say we're not going to trade. I got this line in the speech, by the way, where Trump says, we're not going to be isolationist. We're going to trade. Trade is good, but it has to be done in a way that is not going to destroy, the manufacturing base of this country.
Well, I'm glad you and Kudlow and Laffer are there to exert your influence. Keep doing it. Keep moving him. Steve Moore, Chief.
Now, let's see. Have I persuaded you guys yet? That's the question. Amy, are you there yet?
No,
I like the daycare costs. because that applies to me. So thank you, Ivanka, and thank you for listening to Ivanka Stephen Moore.
All right, you see, we're making some progress. That's why I do this show every Wednesday morning, because, Amy, you're my one-person focus group. If we win your vote, we win this election.
Well, you got to get those highly educated white women like Amy. Steve Moore.
That sounded condescending.
Steve Moore, Chief Economist at the Heritage Foundation and Trump Economic Advisor. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks. And we want to remind everyone that Stephen Moore will be at Freedom Summit Chicago 2016. Again, it's happening Saturday, October 29th, and the lineup is bigger and better than ever. Former Florida Congressman Lieutenant Colonel Alan West will be there. Keynote lunch speaker will be Michelle Malkin. Also, Stephen Moore will appear, Mike Gallagher, and we'll all be there. So to pick up your tickets, get it now. Do this. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. Tickets starting at $29, and premium tickets include premium reserved seating, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So don't miss out. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. And Stephen Moore joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.